I think we have enough time for one more thing before I go. And it requires me to go to a different list because it's actually just a different list. It's a list of Americans. Why would I list Americans? A long time ago, I saw on YouTube a picture where people had put American actors in the roles of Doctor Who throughout the various iterations of Doctor Who. And they have a lot of really good choices on there. But I thought that there might be some different choices that I would want instead. And so I recast them. Some of them. Some of them were too spot on that I just couldn't fucking change. And a lot of people have done this over the years. And so I'm doing it now. These are my choices through the current day of who I would make as the Doctor, the casting for Doctor Who, but with Americans this time. And for the record, I'm going through 13 and the War Doctor, but because we haven't seen the fallout from the Timeless Child, we don't really know where in the timeline that other possible Doctor is. I don't know. I'm waiting until, was it season 13? Series 13? I don't know. The next one, where they will kind of explain it a little bit. And of course, apparently there were a lot of different iterations before William Hartnell's time. So I'm just going from 1963 through 2020. And we're just going with that for now. Whatever. So let's start off with number one. In the original run of Doctor Who, the first Doctor was William Hartnell, and he was the Doctor from 1963 to 1966. And in his stead, in the American version, I put Harry Morgan of MASH and Dragnet fame. He's very good at playing older. He's very good at having that same grumpy but slight twinkle quality. Very memorable voice, very good in serialized television, and around the same time in his career, he was able to play older characters. So I think he would have been really good in that role. I don't know how he would have played with science fiction stuff, but he can handle medical stuff really good, and it's just a slight dimensional shift away from that to get to sci-fi. So there you go. My choice for the recast of Doctor Number 1, Harry Morgan. Doctor Number 2, instead of Patrick Troughton, I have agreed with the other person that did it, the big pictures that went around. Dick Van Dyke! Dick Van Dyke! A lot of fucking things that you cannot say out of context for very good reasons. But somehow this dude managed to have a very successful TV show and career with a highly unlikely name. But with his energy, with his wit, with his charm, and with his ability to play against type, I really think that he'd be a good successor to possibly one of the greatest Doctors of all time, Patrick Troughton. Number 3 is also an agreement. There are a good number of agreements, okay? Number 3 is an agreement. Vincent Price in the place of John Pertwee for the Doctor of the 70s. And what a fucking choice. Who could fucking agree with that? Vincent Price, good lord. One of the greatest actors to have ever done it. Ever. He has that same quality vocally that John Pertwee had of having a higher but deeper voice at the same time. And he also had an air of sophistication, but it could also be tremendously silly when need be. Very physical, very expressionate, just fucking perfect. I can't describe any more how perfect it is. Also a sucker for crushed velvet suits. Number 4 is also an agreement. Like I said, there's a lot of agreements. I only recast a few, so I can't take credit for these choices, because I can't guarantee I would have made them otherwise. If I knew the original poster's name, I'd fucking share it right here. But Number 4, in place of Tom Baker, arguably the most successful Doctor Who ever, the incomparable Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder! God, he even has the curly hair. Enigmatic. The charisma of both Tom Baker and Gene Wilder. Enigmatic. They seem like alien people almost. Like, to watch them do their thing, they're the best when they're hiding something and trying to act like that isn't there, but also like they don't mind if someone suspects them. And it just mind games and the humor and the charm and the outlandish expression. It's fucking incredible. So props to the original poster and anyone else who independently came up with that. Gene Wilder as the 4th Doctor would have been absolutely fantastic. Number 5 is a disagreement. I don't remember and where I disagree, I don't remember who the other people put in those places. But for me, number 5, I put, instead of Peter Davison, I put Alan Alda of MASH fame. Around the time that Tom Baker left, Doctor Who MASH was ending, and Alan Alda was certainly older than Peter Davison was around the same time, but at the same time, Alan Alda has such a boyish charm that I think it could work. Oh, God, copyrighted music. What are you thinking, Ma? Ma! But yeah, Alan Alda, authoritative when need be, fucking hilarious when need be, and the big challenge for the actor is that the 5th Doctor has an air of aristocracy. You know, he wore a fucking cricket outfit with a decorative fucking vegetable. I wouldn't keep that, obviously, but if through his portrayal of Hawkeye, you would think that Alan Alda might not be able to pull off an air of sophistication or an air of higher society. Stop playing copyrighted music around me, goddammit! I need only point you to his work on The West Wing. There you go. And granted, that was much later in his life, but he can play that, and I think it would just be perfect. Absolutely perfect. Next up. Oh, man. Okay, so here's the thing. I remember in the original one, instead of Colin Baker, they put Christopher Walken. I disagreed with that because I love Christopher Walken. I absolutely love Christopher Walken, but he's not a good actor. And fucking Colin Baker is a fantastic actor. They had him in a silly costume. Yeah, undeniable. And some of his stuff was weird, sure. But if I want to think of a great actor who can play fucking really well in a weird scenario, I think of Jack Nicholson. And I think, you know, in the 80s, they were trying to make Doctor Who a little more edgy, I guess, a little more mature. And I think Jack Nicholson could have brung it. I really, really do. The next choice is one that I admit I'm not as familiar with, but it is one that I simply agreed with. Instead of Sylvester McCoy, we went with Tony Shalhoub, the guy from Monk. He also was really good in Galaxy Quest. I remember him from that more so than anything. But yeah, the main thing is that they have very similar energies, Sylvester McCoy and Tony here. I don't know how to say his last name. And even not knowing much of the guy, I can recognize a perfect fit when I see it. So I didn't want to mess with it. But that does mean I don't have much to say. Moving along to the 8th Doctor now. We're the movie Doctor. The Doctor of Hollywood, kind of a TV movie. And I don't remember who they had in this spot for the original one. Obviously, Paul McGann is the actual Doctor of the Doctor Who movie. But I chose Brendan Fraser. I think Brendan Fraser has that otherworldly charisma. I think he has the charm in that era. The movie was 1996. That would be a huge fucking get. Brendan Fraser in 1996. Just imagine, because if this is flipped, then it would be an American actor surrounded by a bunch of British people, and Brendan Fraser playing off of dry British wit is so good. Watch Doom Patrol, I'm serious. But anyway, so yeah, Brendan Fraser is the movie doctor. Fuck yeah. Especially that's when they were starting to put in the sex appeal, and you can't deny he's got that. Moving on in the timeline of the Doctor, this leads us to the War Doctor, even though that Doctor didn't show up for a while, and this one is another agreement. Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford circa 2013, where he's the old grizzled badass with a bit of humor and charm stuck in there, and just a whole lot of I could give less of a shit, but not much of less of a shit. Absolutely pitch perfect. Pitch perfect. Can't disagree at all. There you go. That leads us to the revival, 2005. The revival, what brings back Doctor Who with its more cinematic style, more serious overtones, a little more action, a little more believability, a little more grounded, and in place. Of course. Sorry, I need to give credit where credit is due. Fucking John Hurt was one of the greatest actors to ever play Doctor Who, and he only got to do it on screen once, and what a fucking impression he made. But I need to make sure I say his name, because he fucking deserves and there's not much recognition to come from some random fat person in their living room ranting about recasting Doctor Who with different nationalities, but every little bit of recognition that John Hurt can get, he deserves. But anyway, so moving on to the revival 2005, instead of the fantastic Christopher Eccleston, who's tied for my favorite Doctor, Doctor number 9 there, I put in Richard Dean Anderson. Yeah, he was MacGyver back in the day, but more specifically, I'm thinking of his run on Stargate SG-1, and that he's a little more earthy than Christopher Eccleston, but if you had seen Christopher Eccleston in a lot of other stuff, I don't know, a lot of people would have thought he could be the kind of just phenomenal fucking Doctor that he turned out to be. He blew away everyone's expectations at the time, and I think Richard Dean Anderson could do the same. You know, I don't know how this would conflict with other stuff he's done in his career, but it's not happening anyway, so fuck it. Fantasy book that shit. Richard Dean Anderson is the Doctor number 9. Then you move on to the second most mainstream Doctor, the cute boy, the love interest. How could it not be? I totally agree with the original poster's choice, Neil Patrick Harris. I mean, Neil Patrick Harris and David Tennant in a room. I'm going to be stewing on that one for a while, but the point is, oh my God. I mean, parallels all the way down. Look great in a ill-fitting suit, the charisma, the ability to keep up with the pace, the physicality, the humor, the seriousness. It's all just fucking perfect. I just couldn't agree more with that. Next up, in place of the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith, Donald Glover. Yeah, they were doing the first Doctor before the original did it, which is easy to do in hindsight. But then again, Donald Glover. I mean, could you name someone who is still going today that has the fucking range of Donald Glover? Very few, if any. And Matt Smith's Doctor, the 11th Doctor, there were more silly moments and serious moments and grand speeches and fucking ridiculous, almost embarrassing moments. This Doctor was all over the fucking place. So you would need someone who can grab attention with comedy and with drama in equal amounts across the board, Donald Glover is a perfect fit. And this is also in agreement with the original one. In the original post, it ended at Doctor Number 12. Doctor Number 12 was new at the time. Peter Capaldi, tied with Christopher Eccleston for my favorite Doctor. And again, the original post got it perfect. Bryan Cranston. You can play a bit older, but has that quiet intensity, explosive intensity if need be, the ability to look a motherfucker in the eye and command their presence if need be. The moral grandstanding of the 12th Doctor was among the greatest portrayals of the Doctor's tendency for moral grandstanding, but also has that phenomenal awkwardness. How could you not see fucking Walter White and his tidy whities throwing a pizza on the roof and think that this motherfucker is great at being awkward as shit, but still seem incredible at the same time? You couldn't do it better. You couldn't. If you had to replace Peter Capaldi, which, it's hard to even think about doing that, because, again, any bit of recognition that Peter Capaldi could get, he deserves. Bryan Cranston, that's the person to do it. But like I said, the original post didn't extend to the 13th Doctor, who hadn't been cast at the time. And when you're thinking about that's copyrighted music, ma! God damn it, just send it to her. Just send a message. God damn it, ma! The optimistic energy, but also oddly smiling sinisterness. Like, the 13th Doctor has done some brutal shit and not blinked. Like, I think you need someone who can have that steel, but also, when they smile, it's hard not to believe it. And if you're replacing Jodie Whittaker with anyone that's an American, I think you got to go with Amy Poehler. I mean, yeah, you're going, to another blonde person, and it's not because of the hair color that I made the choice. But what convinced me, I don't watch Parks and Rec, but what convinced me was Inside Out. And yeah, that's animated, but I've seen her physicality and other stuff. Her range in Inside Out, I think, really showed the ability to really go out on a limb with various situations, storylines, etc., etc. So there you go. Those are my choices for American versions of Doctor Who. Because I have written it somewhere in another dimension, it has happened. Not because of that, but because the universe is infinite and alternate reality dimensions, whatever, is infinite. Every story that's ever been told happened. And I have told this story, so in another dimension, that exact casting happened. And then I was cast as the next one. That universe sucks. It was good up until I happened. No, I would absolutely love to play the Doctor. I don't think I would ever be able to do it justice, but I have that playing the Doctor and playing Tiny Cooper from Will Grayson are my dream acting roles, but I am far too old now to play Tiny Cooper. So the only dream acting role I have now for live action is the Doctor, and that's never gonna fucking happen. But if I ever got the opportunity, I wouldn't say no, even though I don't think I'd be pretty good at it. But I would give it everything I fucking had. You know that damn well. So, there you go.